Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is a recording of Rabbi Avi Havivi's weekly Siddur class.
We've been talking about the first paragraph of the Amidah, and I will yield to Terry's request that we should do some halacha. Terry said, could we see that source? So I think maybe for the next 2, possibly 3 sessions, we will be looking at the halachot of how to say the Amidah, first paragraph, and other things, much more about the Amidah, in the Shulchan Aruch. Does that sound like an okay thing to do? That's what we're going to do. Okay. And just to remind people, Shulchan Aruch is seen as the authoritative code of Jewish law from the, I always get my 1500s and my 1600s mixed up. So one of those centuries, written by Rav Yosef Karo, in Sfat, and again, he wrote Sephardi Minhag, he was Sephardi. It reached Eastern Europe. The Ramah, Rabbi Moshe Isserles, wrote his comments on the Shulchan Aruch where Ashkenazi practice differed from Sephardi practice. So they're printed in different fonts so that we can distinguish them. And of course, the Shulchan Aruch looks like other holy Jewish books, the standard edition with the text in the middle and commentaries around it. But we will have our Sefaria edition, which is available online and free. And let me just see, how do I screen share again? Where is it? Share. That's what I do. I go to share. And I go to, okay, can you see my screen there?
Yes.
Okay.
Very small.
Okay, well, then you have to enlarge it with your fingers on your screen, Alana. Not much I can do.
Oh, sorry, I need to mute myself.
That's okay. So, and by the way, this is not a specialty thing. Sefaria.org. It's free. It's so much Jewish wisdom at your fingertips, so you can find this on your own. You go to Sefaria.org, you click on Halacha, and then it lists of many different Halacha books, and you click on the Shulchan Aruch. So the laws of the Amidah start around chapter 90. Chapter is called in Hebrew Siman, in not in modern Hebrew, but in halacha books, okay? And it starts with where you should pray. And I'm going to skip, so people who get dizzy, don't look now, because I'm going to go like this, okay? Because a lot of this is about where, you make a minyan somewhere out in the fields, where you're allowed to do it, where you shouldn't do it. So we're not going to read that stuff, because most of us are davening either in shul or on Zoom in our homes. Okay, paragraph 9. Yishtadel Adam, by the way, all these things are about prayer, but again, this is all about, it's not about prayer in general, it's about tefillah, the prayer, which means the Amidah. So all of this is about the Amidah, because when, in this section of the Shulchan Aruch, when it says to pray, what they mean is to say the Amidah. Again, originally, let's just say in Mishnah's times, maybe the Shema and the Amidah were not necessarily coupled. You said Shema in Mishnah times at dawn. You might be home, you might be anywhere, you could be on your way to work, you could be at work. And that was separate from the Amidah, which was said only when the sun starts to rise, when the sun starts to peek after the horizon, right? So it's not clear to us at all that 2,000 years ago people had a service that looked anything like our service, right? So this is just about the Amidah, which they call the Tefillah. So anytime it says to pray, it means say the Amidah. Yishtadel Adam lehitpalel beveit hakneset, that's the BH, im hatzibur. A person should try to get to shul, to daven with the congregation. But if you're under some compulsion, you can't make it. You have a work appointment, it's too far, physical reasons, all kinds of things. A person should try the intention, you should try to daven when the congregation is davening. So you should try to daven your shachri at the time when there's a minyan davening. Okay? In smaller font, Vehu Hadin, that's the hey, Vehu Hadin B'nei Adam Hadarim B'Yishuvim Ve'ein Lahem Minyan. So this is the law if people live in settlements, which sort of means little villages, and they don't have a minyan. What if they live in a place where there is no minyan? Mem is mikol makom. At any rate, yitpalalu shacharit va'arvit bizman shatzibur mitpalim. They should pray shacharit and mariv at the time when the congregation is davening. Meaning you're in your office or at home or wherever you are, some town where there is no minyan, you should make an effort to pray at minyan time. Okay?
Avi?
And for those hold on a second. For those who are interested in the Hebrew, you see it says after mitpalim samach mem gimel, right before the bracket. That stands for Sefer Mitzvot Gadol, which is a medieval halacha book. So basically here, just so you understand how it works, the Ramah, the Ashkenazi authority, is adding something. That's what's in the brackets. And he tells you what the source is, or maybe the editor tells you what the source is. So the Ramah is citing the Sefer Mitzvot Gadol, saying, hey, if you live in a place where you don't have it's not only in my city where shul is 2 blocks away, but I don't make it to shul, I should try to daven at the same time as the tzibur. By the way, I don't think he has a reason here, but I think the Talmud talks about that. That's because it is seen that our prayers are more acceptable to God, as it were, if we are joining our prayers to a community. And if we're not doing that by actually being there physically, then we at least try to do that by doing it at the same time as a community. So you're having the intention, I know they're davening in shul now, and I'm joining my prayers to theirs. Okay? Similarly, if you live in a place that just doesn't have a minyan, can't find a minyan, you still daven at the time when, I guess I would say, people in your time zone would be davening. Let me just finish this paragraph, and then I'll pause for questions. V'chein im ne'enas v'lo hitpa'alel b'sha'a shehitpa'alu hatzibur. If something happened, compulsion means not under his control. You know, you were going to go to shul, and then your child had a nosebleed, and it delayed you, and then that time of shul davening is over. V'hu mitpalel b'yachid, and you're praying individually. Af al pichein yitpalel b'veit hakneset. Even so, it is preferable to pray in shul, meaning even if you're not praying at the time when the congregation does, it's preferable, if you can, to pray where the congregation prayed. Okay, this is like a, Camp Ramah thing, summer camp thing. If you're davening on your own, you missed davening time, you're early or late, usually you'd be late. It's preferable to go daven in the place that is designated as the synagogue. In a place like Temple Beth Am with security guards, etc., it would be hard to do that, and they'd be using the room for something else. But the Shulchan Aruch is saying that's what is preferable, right? So as a way of embodying that, embodying, halachically doing that, I am, even though I'm praying individually, I think of myself as part of a community. It's preferable to daven. What's the best thing? To go daven with the community. Second best thing, if I can, is to daven at the same time as they do. Third best thing, if I miss that time, is to at least go daven in the place where the community davened. All of these things enact or represent that I am being part of the Jewish people. Okay, now I'll pause for question or comment.
Avi, it occurs to me that this...
Just so you know, because of screen sharing, I can't see everyone. You don't all fit on my screen. So if you want a question or comment, you just have to jump in. I won't call on you. Go ahead, Mike.
It occurs to me that the first paragraph that you read, while not supporting necessarily counting people on Zoom for a minyan, it would make that certainly not only acceptable, but a very good thing to do, because that way you can daven at precisely the same time as the congregation.
Yes. By the way, as we talked about months and months ago, a year ago, who knew it would be so long, there is all kinds of halacha behind Zoom minyan, because the law codes talk about if you're outside the synagogue. This is the basis of a Zoom minyan, is if you're out, the law codes say if you're outside the synagogue, but you could hear them, the minyan davening, and you see them through the window, you may join the minyan. okay? And all these halachic sources talk about, is the window actually, meaning, does the computer count as a window? The people who don't do Zoom minyanim say, no, computer does not count as a window. And the people who do Zoom minyanim halachically say, there's no difference between seeing someone electronically on what we call a window, even though that's not what the Shulchan Aruch means when it calls it a window. Remember, their windows probably weren't glazed. They probably didn't have glass. They were just open apertures, right? So it's like you're outside the shul, you hear the minyan, you see the people from the minyan, you're saying in your mind, I am joining the minyan to say Kaddish or to answer Kedusha or whatever, even if you're not actually in the room with them. The other halacha is about if 10 people see each other in a field, they aren't really in one place, we're all out in the fields, scattered, and 10 people can see each other, can they join in a minyan? Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Yes, Avi, can I ask a favor? I think several people, including me, are having this difficulty. No matter what we do on our screen, the text is quite small. If you look at the top of the address bar, it's only at 80%. Can you maybe get to 100% size?
Okay, how do I do that? Click on 80%?
I think if you click,
now
look at that. Just got a little bigger.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay. You have to put on reading glasses and then the reading glasses on top of your reading glasses. Kisha omeid im hatzibur. So again, this previous paragraph was all about making yourself a part of the community, meaning I'm not only doing this on my own to pray to God, I'm making myself part of a community. And now we have other laws along that theme. Kisha omeid im hatzibur. So when you stand up in shul to say the Amidah, asur lo lahakdim litfilat tzibur. You shouldn't start your Amidah before the kahal does. This is hard for me, by the way, because my first paragraph of the Amidah is very long in terms of my kavanah, and I'd really like to, and I can daven faster if I want. So I'd really like to, by the time the minyan is saying Ezrat Avotenu, I'd like to be standing up and starting my Amidah. But you can't do that, okay? So actually what I do, just so you know, is I do hurry up to finish all the Ezrat Avotenu stuff, and then I stand, and then I do my own preparation for the Amidah, my own meditation thing, so that I'm then ready to start the first bracha when the kahal does. That's kind of how I enact this, okay? So you can't start beforehand. By the way, let's finish it. Ela im kain, aleph kaf, ela im kain, hasha'a overet, ve'ein hatzibur mitpalalim. That's funny. But you can start early if, you know what, they're draying around in shul and your app says that the latest time to say the Amidah is, let's see what time it is today. I don't know. It doesn't say, but it could either be 3 hours or 4 hours. So it's like, it's 9:45. The time for the Amidah is passing, and they are having a sermon, having a kavanah, saying piyutim, okay? And at that point, you're allowed to, in quotes, leave the kahal, break off, and say, you know what, I'm going to daven the Amidah before the time passes. I can't wait for these people, okay? Aval, brackets, below sha'a overet, but if the time is not passing, meaning you're not going to miss your whatever it is, again, however the clock falls out, 9:30 or 10:30 or whatever, cutoff time for saying the Amidah. That's a whole halachic issue. What time at mid-morning is when it's too late to say the Amidah, because it's the morning prayer, and there's a whole halachic debate about that, so we're not going to get into that. But whatever that time is, if the time is not passing, yitpalel hapiyutim v'hatchinot im hatzibur v'lo yifrosh min hatzibur afilu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Right? You should daven along with it. They're draying around. It's Rosh Hashanah. They're saying all of these piyutim. The chazan is singing. It's taking forever. It's driving you crazy. You just want to get up and say your Amidah and read or read a book that you brought with you. The Ramah says, nope, you stay with the tzibur. As long as it's not for a halachic reason, the time is passing, as long as it's only for your impatience or aesthetic reason, you stay with the tzibur. You don't say your Amidah early. You might say, look, I want to daven, and then I'm going to sit and I'll study a page of Gemara while I'm waiting for them to dray around. Not supposed to do that. Everyone with me? Okay. I love this. Mitzvah larutz kesheholech lebeit hakneset. Run to shul. V'chein l'chol dvar mitzvah. And for any mitzvah. Afil b'Shabbat. Shasur lifsoa psiya kasa. Even on Shabbos, when you're not supposed to walk with your weekday hurry walk, even on Shabbos, you can walk fast to go to shul. Aval ksheyotzei beit hakneset asur larutz. But you don't run when you're leaving synagogue. What's the aesthetic? I am eager to get to this mitzvah, right? And I don't show, and I don't demonstrate that I'm rushing away from the mitzvah. Okay? Their shuls had wooden floors. Mutar larok beveit hakneset vidurso biraglo. You are allowed to spit in shul and you rub it into the dirt. I don't think we would do that in our time. Okay. But I thought I should include it because I thought it was kind of charming. Yashkim Adam lebeit hakneset kedei sheyimaneh im ha'yud harishonim. It's good to be counted in the first 10 people. Okay? You should get up early in order to be part of that first 10 people. It's like an extra, we would call it not a halacha, but a desideratum. Okay. Sorry. By the way, this has to do with yeshivas. Beit Hamidrash Kavua Kadosh Yoter Mi Beit HaKnesset. A Beit Midrash, place where people study Torah, a fixed Beit Midrash, which means not just we're studying Torah together in my house, right? But fixed Beit Midrash is holier than a shul. Umitzvah lahitpalel bo yoter mi Beit HaKnesset v'hu sheyitpalel be'asara. Right? So if this is yeshiva bachers, they're in the Beit Midrash, or you're in day school, or in the day school library or whatever, you want to have a minyan there, it's preferable to stay there and have a minyan rather than go into a room or a building that is designated as the shul. Okay? Scrolling down. Okay.
Avi, can I ask you a question?
This applies... Yes, please. You got to jump in. I can't see you.
Okay. So this may be a little bit sensitive, but there are places where the fixed place for a minyan, whether it be a Beit Midrash or a chapel or whatever, is sometimes not available because of the schedule of the building. You probably know what I mean.
No, but what I'm talking about, what they're talking about is, I think it's not saying you should go seek out a Beit Midrash to daven in. I think what it means is if you're in a Beit Midrash, you're studying, you don't say, and it's minyan time, you don't say, oh, we need to go into chapel to go daven. It's minyan time. You daven there. The minyan davens in the Beit Midrash.
I see. So this is not saying that it's good to have a makom kavua for davening.
That wasn't your question, nor does it address that. I think what it says is, if you're in the Beit Midrash, you are a Talmid Chacham, you're in the Beit Midrash, minyan time arrives, people don't need to say, oh, we have to go into the shul room to daven. The fact that you are studying there elevates the place to a higher level of holiness than a place that's only a davening place. It's fine to daven there. It's preferable to daven there.
At the appropriate time, I'd like to ask the question about makom kavua.
Okay, well, we're getting to some makom kavua issues here. So, paragraph 19. Yikba makom litfilato shelo yishanehu im lo litzorech. You should have a fixed place to daven, right? So this is where in our minyan, right, we all know what it means when you come to your seat in shul and you feel, a sense of comfort in that zone. And some of the time, new people come to shul, people are rotating in saying Kaddish, and they sit in your seat, which means If you're a new person coming in to say Kaddish or for any other reason, you might ask the gabbai or a regular, where is a good place where I might sit, right? Because if you're sitting in someone else's usual zone, it could be their usual chair or their usual zone. By the way, this is probably the origin of the practice in synagogues that there are plaques on seats, right? It's a fundraiser, but it's basically based on the idea that people focus better if they are in some comfort zone. Part of the comfort zone is if you're a front row person, you're a front row person. If you're a back row person, you're a back row person. And I think we all have a sense of what that means, right? Our like I'm in a zone, I'm physically comfortable. It's my row location. Most of us intuitively do this, by the way. Most people don't randomly move around the room. One day I'm on the left side, one day I'm on the right side. Okay? So you should have a makom kavua. This is called my makom kavua, right? In knowledgeable circles, it is considered extremely acceptable that if you're regular and you come to shul and someone is sitting in your seat, it's considered acceptable to say, excuse me, please, but that's my makom kavua. Would it be okay if you found another place to sit? Here's another seat. That would not be considered rude. It would be considered rude to say, that's my makom kavua, move. That would be considered rude. But excuse me, that's my makom kavua is not considered rude. Again, makom kavua means my fixed place, right? So it is taken for granted that people, I think, have better kavanah if they're in a place where they feel comfortable. Ve'ein dai b'mashi kvalo beit hakneset lehitpalel. It's not just you should have a regular shul that you daven in. Ela gam b'veit hakneset shekavua ba sarich sheyelo makom kavua. Even in a shul that is your usual shul, you should also have your usual seat. And again, literally, I think they're thinking of a seat. In my mind, I look at the way of Temple Beth Am morning minyan functions, and I think of a zone, right? It's clear to everyone. Everyone has their general zone where they sit. It's very funny. Terry, I think of your table as it's the women's table, right? It's not our gendered discrimination. It's just de facto. It's women coming into shul to say Kaddish who aren't regulars, and Terry is very gracious and helps them and shows them the page and shepherds them through the process. So it's like, okay, you should sit at Terry's table, right? So I think we all have an intuitive sense of this. Okay, question, comment. By the way,
yeah.
When are you supposed to change your place in shul? Does anyone know when you are supposed to change your place?
That's actually was going to be my question. I know that There's a practice to change your place when you're mourning, and I wanted to ask. I've heard different reasons over the years. So are there multiple reasons, or is there the reason, or what is?
The halakha rarely gives a reason. So Joanna, what do you think is the reason?
So I've heard
there probably is no the reason. So what do you think?
I've heard two reasons over the years. One is it calls attention to the fact, like when you see someone not sitting in their regular place, it hopefully sparks a thought in other people. Oh, something is wrong. Maybe I should, if I don't already know, find out and offer support. And the other one is kind of like, an ayin hara kind of thing. Like, we've had enough bad happen to us, let's move somewhere else so that the ayin hara doesn't find us and send more bad things to our family.
Okay. Any other thoughts, any other reasons people have heard or can come up with or can imagine? We got two.
How about to cause some discomfort?
Good. Go on a little bit. Say another sentence.
Well, just like many other things in mourning, you sit in a chair that's uncomfortable, and so sitting in a different place, I would think, would make you, as you say, a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, Jeff, I'm going to reframe that a little bit because I'm a psychiatrist. So I'm going to say it in shrinky talk, psychological-minded language. It enacts one's sense of dislocation, right? It is an expression of I am dislocated in the world, not in my comfort zone. I don't remember, I should know this off the top of my head, and I don't remember. Does anyone remember for how long you're supposed to change your seat? I think it's 30 days. Does anyone remember that from when you read that book, The Jewish Way and Death and Mourning, something like that? I'll look it up. I think it's for 30 days. It's definitely not for the year. And it's not just for Shiva, because normally in Shiva you'd be at home davening. So I think it's actually for the 30 days you're supposed to. If anyone can look that up between now and next week and give me an answer, or someone will look it up online in the next 4 minutes before we stop and give us the answer. Okay, so it's not a you should, it is a minhag, it's a custom of grieving to change your regular seat in shul. So now we have 3 reasons for it. Or my reframing of Jeff's, if it's different enough, then we have 4 reasons for it. Okay.
I've heard another reason.
A 5th reason, Michael.
In an effort to change your luck. I've heard the phrase in Yiddish, which is roughly translated as change your place, change your luck.
Oh, I think that's Joanna's 2nd reason.
Oh, I missed
Ayin
that,
hara.
sorry.
Yeah, we don't say luck in Jewish. We say avoid the ayin hara. That is our way of reframing the luck thing. Okay. Yikanesh shiur shnei ptachim v'achar kach yitpalel. You're walking in to say the Amidah. Let's say you're coming late or whatever. You should walk in. Okay. This is different than walking while they say the Amidah. Okay. You should walk in at least 2 doors worth. Okay. Shelo yetzev etzel hapetach shenireh kemasa'o yeshivat beit HaKnesset. If you're just inside the door a little, it looks like you don't really want to be here. I just came into the room 5 inches to be here. Okay? So you don't do that. Unless your seat is the one next to the door and that's your makom kavuha. All right. I don't know. I don't think I want to read that one. And this is about not davening right in front of pictures or paintings on the wall because it might be distracting to you. Okay. I love this one. Maybe we'll conclude with this one. Again, you have to think of farmers and peasants, not our synagogues. If someone was saying the Amidah, paragraph 27, V'hishtin tinok beveit HaKnesset, and a little child started to urinate in synagogue. You have to imagine little children without diapers, okay, and an earthen floor. Yishtok, you stop saying your Amidah. We will get to what if you have to yawn, belch, or fart during the Amidah. The Shulchan Aruch covers all of those things, okay? So what if, the kid is peeing right next to me? You stop, okay? Ad she'aviu mayim lahatil al hamei raglayim. What would you do in shul if a little kid peed on the earth floor? What did they do? The answer is someone would bring over a pitcher of water and they would pour water on the pee-pee, okay? To what's the word? Dissipate it, okay? And it would soak into the ground instead of there being a smelly little easily identifiable pee-pee spot. So you wait till someone does that. Oh, Yihalech lefanav 4 amot, or you walk 6 feet in front of that, or to the side, or you leave shul and finish your davening, which is very interesting because we think you stand with your feet together and you don't walk around, okay? So if something vile and disgusting happened next to you that's going to make it totally impossible to concentrate, then you actually move and you leave shul to go to another place to daven. And with that pungent final halacha, I think we will call it a day. I'll pause for questions or comments. Sorry, I should have said this at the beginning. We're not going to meet next week. It's Chol HaMoed. The schedule is going to be different. Plus, it's the first day of Minyan in the shul and Zoom Minyan, I anticipate it could be a little bit buggy and uncertain in terms of how it's going to work. And so we will resume after Pesach, God willing. So basically what we have here is we started out with laws of how you connect to community, what it means to be part of the community, both the time, the place, but also as an individual. But, you're with the community, you can't daven on your own. Within the community, within the room, you have a fixed place that's your comfort zone, okay? And then we're going to have all kinds of halachot coming up. Someone will try to remind me next time we're up to we're up to chapter 89, Siman 89. I say, where are we? The answer is 89. I think we moved it. This is how weird how it goes. Maybe we're 91. 91. And we're going to have more halachot about how you establish your zone, what's disruptive, what's distracting, whether or not you can sit down during the Amidah. And then, Terry, I promise eventually we will get to Kavanah for the first paragraph of the Amidah, which is what you wanted us to get to. But I figured, okay, we're doing the Shulchan Aruch on the Amidah. We'll start at the beginning. It'll take us a few weeks to go through it. I'm not going to read every single thing, like is it permitted to recite in the Shema in the bathhouse, which is what's on the screen right now. So I'm going to try to pick the things that I think that are generally more relevant to us. Let me see you all before I depart and stop screen sharing. Okay, any final questions, comments, thoughts before we ring off?
I don't know if everyone just saw what I put in the chat. I could not find in Maurice Lamb's book the answer to the question, looking quickly. I Googled it. There's an interesting article that the Eretz Chemda Institute has published in, kind of in that Sheila Tshuva format. And the link is in the chat if anybody wants to explore that question about changing your seat when learning.
And I'll research it also. Okay. Everyone my Yiddish is not very fluent. I think you're supposed to say, Azisa und der Kasher Pesach.
Thank you.
All right. Chag Sameach v'Kasher, and try to have Havana and joy despite these COVID times continuing, whether you're in person Seders or Zoom Seders or some combination. And God willing, Siddur class will resume in 2 weeks.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.